Good morning, Joe.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. No complaints.
Last day of February.
Imagine. I think March is the worst month of the year.
Yeah,
But
weather-wise,
it leads to nice things.
this is true. We will spring ahead in March, so we'll get some more daylight, which is kind of nice.
Absolutely.
And it leads to April and spring. that's the only positive thing about March.
Exactly. I agree.
In terms of snowstorms, as I was saying to you earlier, this is my idea of a snowstorm. It's perfect.
Yes, this was nothing. Our forecaster was right on the money, and I know the superintendent and I always talk before a storm, and we made a decision. We're going to school. It didn't look bad at all. As I said to you earlier, I was quite surprised how many districts actually closed. I get the western part of the state. I'm sure they're getting hit a lot worse than us, but locally, you know, when you get into June and the hot months, and it's tough being in school in that classroom.
Yeah.
So we're cognizant of that.
Does the city still have its own weather forecasting service that it uses?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Has that been proved beneficial, do you think?
It has.
Yeah.
I mean, the technology's gotten so advanced, they can tell you what's happening in West Quincy versus House Neck, for example.
Yep.
There's a temperature difference, the elevation differences. It is helpful, for sure.
Interesting. Speaking of weather, we talk a little bit about some issues before the city council regarding resiliency when it comes to flooding. I know there's some expenditures on the table for seawall improvements and storm drain improvements.
Yes, well, as you know, the seawall work we did this past couple of years, Marymount Adam Shore area, leads to another section going deeper into House Neck, and that would be the Manor Ave section, which definitely needs some attention. So we are now in that next phase of assessing that. No question, it's going to need repairs, but we're going through that process, getting hopefully some state money with the city money, and continue to deal with our infrastructure. As you know, we get a lot of waterfront, Joe, and we've got a lot of seawalls, and over time, whether we have climate change or not, over time they do, they do fail. Nothing lasts forever, as they say. This is the next phase. It's important work. It's protecting homes, protecting property, and investing in our infrastructure. So we've been doing this for a long time, and we got to keep it going.
Is the plan to actually raise the height of the seawalls?
I think that'll be part of the engineering plan.
Yeah.
There are sections that probably need it, and there are sections that don't. Manor Ave goes up pretty high, so I don't know that we necessarily have to raise it. But when you look at the seawalls, it's not only what's above ground, but the erosion underneath and the foundation, if you will, that it sits on sometimes starts to fail. So different sections have different needs, but there could be some height raised in some sections and perhaps none in other sections.
Okay, and this funding request is just for the design of that project, is that right?
Yes, it's designed to advance it, yep.
Okay.
There's been some work done on it, but actual design of the next phase would be part of this.
And that is included in the fund that's set aside for that work, is that right?
Well, we use it the sewer and drain rehab fund, which is funded by development.
Yep.
We use that money, which fits it. Years ago, it was originally a sewer fund that was created by actually then Councilor Jim Sheets to help us fix the sewer system in the city. But over time, we've adjusted that, had the law changed, so it also includes drainage projects. So it covers both now. So it's allowed us to get a lot of work done at the expense of developers, not taxpayers.
Mm-hmm. And what's the plan for drainage improvements, storm drain improvements?
Well, that goes hand in hand with seawalls.
Okay.
I mean, there's drainage required. You know, when the seawall does get, when the water gets over the wall, what happens to the water then? So there's a design for storm drainage issues as well. We did that in the last phase that has the places to drain out as the storm subsides, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, you don't want the soup bowl effect because that just
That's
stagnant
correct.
water at that point. Yeah. Also, some funding requests to help the poor Southern Tide Mill on the Southern Artery, Mayor.
Yes, the good old Tide Mill. Actually, there's not a whole lot that's original on that site, but it clearly is the site of what was the grist mill that was operated by the Tides. And we are having some issues with the foundation. We did some work to the building, as you know, a few years back,
Yep.
but some of the footings and foundation areas are problematic. So I think this is to allow us to do some emergency work in there so that it doesn't fall in.
Do you think that will ever become kind of an attraction for the public to actually learn about and tour?
You know, I thought if the area down there had some development, it could be part of something bigger.
Yeah.
One of the challenges we have in Quincy, Joe, is we have so much.
Yep.
You know, the historical assets we have. You know, we put a lot of money into our buildings. You know, City Hall, Coddington, Adams Academy. You know, you've got all these other city assets, so it's the Iron Furnace or the railway, or I mean, there's a bunch of them. In addition to the National Park Service, in addition to the Dorothy Quincy House, the Josiah Quincy House. So they're all, you know, obviously they all have needs and resources that we use community preservation funds to help.
Yep.
First Parish Church of the President's another one. So, I mean, if this was a little town and that was the only thing you had, you'd probably pour all your resources into that to embellish it and to tell the history. But this is one of dozens of sites that we have. So the competition for the money is real. And so we're going to continue to try to maintain it and, you know, hopefully down the road there'll be a vision for it.
Yeah, maybe you're looking for some private investment, it sounds like, it to go along with that.
It wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. Does the city actually own the Tide Mill? Is that city
Yes.
property? It does. Okay.
Yeah, it was gifted to a nonprofit originally. Nonprofit went to bunk and turned it over to the city a number of years ago. So
Yes, sir.
we do work with the Friends of the Tide Mill, but it's owned by the city now.
Okay. And that, as you mentioned, that would come from the Community Preservation Fund, which is really part of what it's designed to do, right, is historic preservation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of funding, Congressman Lynch brought $1.5 million to the city last week, Mayor.
Yes, we're always grateful when the congressman visits our city. He pays attention to his district and certainly pays attention to Quincy, so we're grateful. You know, we've had obviously a partner in the congressman. We've had a partner in a state legislature over the years to help us with a number of grant programs, and this is another one that will help us to design the garage proposed for the area where the IHOP is. You know, if you go back to the Streetworks days, there were several garages planned for the entire downtown. Obviously, the Kilroy has been built and it's being well used, but we'll need another one or two on what is the General's area now, the Conville Way, to provide the future development that's happening. Will start to happen this summer on Hancock Street. Then, of course, on the other side of McConville Way, abutting Bergen Parkway and the tracks, you know, we're certainly planning and hoping for some major commercial development.
So I know the funding also included it's called a north-south roadway and utility corridor. What would that be, Mayor?
Well, that was really and these applications go back a little bit, but
Okay.
that was for the intersection change at Hannon and McConville that we're out for bid for now. That's to help with the backup, if you will, on the Bergen with the queuing.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you come over the Paul Harrell Bridge, you hit that light, and it backs everything up. So this moves the intersection further down so that it'll kind of allow us to redesign, rebuild the parking way right turn in so you don't get clogged up there if you're heading down towards House Neck, you know.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If there's a tractor-trailer at that light, forget it. That's the only thing that's going to be stuck at the bridge. So this, I mean, it's not a lot of funding, but where would the other funding come from for the projects?
Well, that's the intersection project is, we also have a MassWorks grant. So that is fully funded, and that will advance this summer. The bridge design will also use some of our district improvement financing, and then we're hopeful that we're going to secure some other outside funding to help us with the construction of it at some point.
Okay. And the garage funding?
That's what I mean. The garage funding is what I just described. The road change is already all set.
So. Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. I always appreciate your time, Mayor.
My pleasure. Stay out of the snow.
Yes. It's not going to be hard to do. There's thankfully not too much of it.
Not enough to make a snowman.
No. That's okay with me.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much.